A pleasant day to all of you. So, we are the Group 10 and we are here to present our research topic, which is investigating BSA students' attitude towards learning basic accounting, together with Aquino Joy Rigel, Bellarmino Ana Alicia, and Lira Maria Catherine. So, to give us a short introduction about our research topic, may I call on Catherine Lira for the introduction.
So, good day. As a BSA students, we experience firsthand how important it is to maintain a positive attitude when learning basic accounting, as it will help us in the future. Basic accounting lays the foundation for all accounting subjects that must be accomplished before continuing onto the next level of accounting. The main objective of this study is to investigate further into attitudes of BSA students of the University of Batangas Lipa campus on learning basic accounting. Next slide, please. The components are interconnected and include a variety of factors that contribute to a positive attitude towards learning basic accounting. To evaluate students' attitudes toward fundamental accounting, we use the tool for the assessment and formulation of problem behaviors, which is the ABC model. Next slide, please. According to Wahlberg's theory, cognitive, behavioral, and attitudinal learning outcomes are influenced by individual students' psychological characteristics and psychological environments in which they interact. This theory will be useful in this study because it provides a perspective through which we can understand why students develop negative attitudes towards fundamental accounting. And according to the ABC model, our research focuses on students' self-confidence in their basic accounting abilities, basic accounting anxiety, mathematics enjoyment, perceptions about the usefulness of basic accounting, and intrinsic motivation. So, questions that guided the studies are the follows. What are the students' attitudes towards learning basic accounting? Affect, which is the self-confidence, basic accounting anxiety, enjoyment of basic accounting. Behavior, which is intrinsic motivation. And lastly, cognition, which is the perceived usefulness.
Participants. So for the participants, there are 52 BSA students from the UBLC who became the respondents of this research. There are 44 male with 85%, while 8 female with 15%. With the age of the respondents, it includes 8 to 22 years old. There are 7 students that are 18 years old that has a percentage of 13%. 4 students are 19 years old, that is 8%. 20 students are 20 years old with 38%. 18 students are 21 years old, that is 35%, and 3 students are 22 years old with 6%. With regards to the year level, 11 are first-year students with a percentage of 21%, 5 second-year students with 10%, 33 third-year students with 64%, and 3 fourth-year students with 6%. Next slide po. So for the instruments, the primary instrument for collecting data in this study was based on the Mathematics Attitude Questionnaire, or MAQ. The MAQ is composed of open-ended questions and a 5-point Likert scale survey with 42 statements. The Likert scale survey was adapted from Fanema and Sherman, Tahar et al., Sandre Bari, Ginild, and Ostagard in order to ensure content validity. 5 attitude aspects were considered: self-confidence in basic accounting, perceived usefulness and enjoyment of basic accounting anxiety, and intrinsic motivation. So we based the research on the Mathematics Attitude Questionnaire in order to determine whether there is a positive or negative attitude to the respondents toward the subject of basic accounting. This often reflects on students' value, self-confidence, enjoyment, motivation, and anxiety levels when it comes to the subject. Next slide. A description of each aspect, a corresponding sample statement, and a Cronbach alpha is displayed in Table 2. All statements composing attitude aspects were scored on a 5-point scale ranging from 5 equivalent to strongly agree to 1 equivalent to strongly disagree. The Cronbach's alpha reliability scores for the sample in 5 attitude aspects was adequate as Cronbach's alpha value ranged between 0.77 and 0.87. This is in accordance with Abe and Berno that a reliability coefficient of instruments should lie between 0.5 and 0.85 or above. So using this Cronbach alpha, it tests whether the questions asked for the respondents were connected to each other, and that Cronbach alpha is also the way to measure the skill reliability of the research. Next slide. So based on the table 2, the result, it shows that the internal consistency of the Likert scale ranges from acceptable to good. This means that the questions for each set are closely related to one another, making it reliable. So for self-confidence, it measures how students are confident enough with how they learn basic accounting. The result from self-confident shows 0.87. From basic accounting anxiety, it measures the level of anxiety and uneasiness of the students learning the basic accounting. So the result shows with 0.85. On the other hand, the enjoyment of basic accounting shows the result of 0.83. This determines the level of enjoyment of learning basic accounting of the students. With the behavior intrinsic motivation, the result was 0.77, and this measures the students' intrinsic motivation. Lastly, in cognition, perceived usefulness shows a result of 0.79, which measures the perceptions of the students on the value of basic accounting in their life and career.
So since we now know that the questionnaire made and the data gathered are reliable, we will now proceed to the analysis of the data. So in a quantitative method was used to analyze a quantifiable portion of the survey. Data obtained from close-ended items were coded and entered into Microsoft Excel. At this point, negative items were scored in the reverse order. Mean scores were calculated for each statement of attitude aspect to get variables which were used in subsequent analysis. The first research question of the study required to establish the student attitudes toward basic accounting. Towards this end, the descriptive statistics such as mean and standard deviation were used, where mean values of all attitude aspects were averaged to get the overall attitude. One-way ANOVA with study level as an independent variable was used to account for the observed mean differences in the overall attitude and attitude aspects. So specifically, we use the t-test for the one-way ANOVA, and we also have a correlation test between the attitude and attitude aspects. So next slide, please. So for the result of the self-confidence, so scores above 3.0 on this aspect represents high self-confidence, whereas scores below 3.0 indicate low confidence. So as shown in the table 3, the mean for the first year students is 3.54, while for the second year to fourth year students, we had 3.44. So basically, they have a high self-confidence since it is above 3.0, and We also use the t-test to determine if there is a significant differences when it comes to higher levels versus the first year students. So as you can see, there is no significant differences when it comes to self-confidence. And also for the whole test, we use the a significance level of 90% since it was said earlier that we only had 52 respondents from the BSA students, wherein we measure or we calculated that the significance level of this study is only 90%. So for the next one, next slide, please. So for the basic accounting anxiety. So for this one, a high score means lower anxiety and a low score means higher anxiety. So we can see that the first year student has a 3.19 mean and the second year to fourth year students has 2.96 mean. This means that the higher year has a higher anxiety when it comes to basic accounting. So we also test the if there is a difference between the first year to second year to fourth year students, and there is no significant differences when it comes to basic accounting anxiety. So next one po. So for the enjoyment of basic accounting, so as the same as with the previous test, the result shows that the first year to fourth year students showed that they enjoy basic accounting. So with this, the results show significant differences between first year and second year to fourth year student PSA students in terms of enjoyment of basic accounting. So it means that there is a different kind of enjoyment when learning basic accounting when you are in first year and when you are in the higher years. But the difference is very small in effect. So for the intrinsic motivation, so this measure how motivated the students are when they are studying basic accounting. So with this, the first year students has a mean of 4.09, while second year to fourth year students had a mean of 3.89. This shows that all year levels is uh, are highly motivated to learn basic accounting. So when it comes to the differences between the first year to second year to fourth year students, there is no significant differences because it shows that the result is only 0.12 and it is higher than 0.10. Next po. So for the usefulness of basic accounting, so the mean scores 4.01 and 4.03. So all your levels see that the basic accounting is very useful, not just today but also in the future. And when it comes to the differences between the first year to second year to fourth year students, it shows that there is no significant differences between them. So generally, the result indicated that the students had confidence. They did enjoy basic accounting classes. They are motivated and they found it useful. Significant differences were found between first year and second year to fourth year BSA students in terms of enjoyment in basic accounting, even if it has small effect in size. However, there are more insignificant differences, specifically in terms of self-confidence, anxiety, motivation, and usefulness of basic accounting. So we now proceed to the correlation analysis. So we use the correlation analysis for the relationship between students' attitude and attitude aspects. So as you can see, most of the items are positively correlated to one another. And 2 items only had a negligible correlation, specifically the basic accounting and the basic accounting enjoyment and basic accounting anxiety and intrinsic motivation.
For the results and discussion, the paper sought to investigate students' attitudes toward learning basic accounting among a sample of 52 students in the University of Batangas, Lipa campus. The paper specifically sought to establish the relationship between attitude and attitude aspects. The results show that a large proportion of students exhibited a positive attitude towards basic accounting. The results show that students had a positive attitude towards basic accounting, but the attitude became less positive in higher years. The decrease in attitude could be related to curriculum organization. As students advanced in school education, the curriculum became more demanding, requiring a more abstract level of understanding. So with the 52 respondents that we had, they have a positive attitude when it comes to basic accounting subject. However, as they reach their higher years, this positive attitude decreases. With this requires further studies to know the factors affecting the attitude of the BSA students towards basic accounting as they go into higher years. The results indicate a significant positive, low to moderate correlation among attitude aspect and attitudes. The results also showed that all attitude aspects were highly positively correlated with attitude, but the highest correlation occurred between enjoyment, motivation, and confidence. This indicates that these factors contributed significantly to form attitudes and that as these variables increase, students' attitudes became more positive. Qualitative results indicate also that basic accounting usefulness, enjoyment, confidence, and motivation were key to students' engagement in basic accounting. The responses showed that the students liked basic accounting because they enjoyed, had self-confidence, and were motivated to do so. So for the limitation and recommendation, only 52 students out of 149 BSA students in UBLC were surveyed. It is better to have the population of 149 to have the most accurate result for the study. For the second one, it was conducted in a limited amount of time. Therefore, if other researchers will conduct this study, they should have more time so that they will be able to survey the population of the students, and also they will have time to further make analysis from the previous studies. For the third one, the grade in basic accounting must be included. This will help the researchers to have a quantitative basis. And for the last one, personal or virtual interviews must be conducted to the respondents. With this, the researchers will be able to have more information and observation with the answers of the respondents.
So for the reference of our study, we use this as a guide for our entire research topic from the introduction up until the discussion of the results. So, the Investigating Students' Attitude Towards Learning Mathematics, authored by Masana, Montero, and Casmir. So, thank you and God bless.